So good morning everyone. We have already started with January current affair, and now we have done GS1, GS Studies 1. So now the topic is GS2, and already we have dealt with 6 topics in this. So as I've told you that we are not dealing with topics, we are dealing with subjects, GS1, 2, 3, 4. So this we have already done. I've given you the definition of MSME last class. Then I have talked about IPC. So this is January news, whatever happened, right? So let's move on to the next one. And I have also talked about NPT and NSG. Is India a member of NPT and NSG? No. And what about CTBT? Is India a member of CTBT? What is CTBT? Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. India is not a member of all these three: NPT, NSG, CTBT. Okay, remember this. Then we saw caste discrimination in prison needs to be addressed. I've given you some stats in this. Then judicial deference, individual liberty in post-Puttaswamy era. So this Puttaswamy case is related to right to privacy. So write this. Yeah. So let's read what is this. The Supreme Court of India in Justice Case Puttaswamy versus Union of India proclaimed the fundamental right to privacy under Indian Constitution. Despite the anticipation of new era safeguarding civil liberties against government excesses, the practical interpretation of these rights within our status has seen limited transformation. See, I have told you about this liberty versus equality. So this is the debate, basic debate. If you give too much of liberty, we have seen that it will lead to inequality. But if you give too much of equality, it will diminish liberty and the meritocracy society. But what is the problem here? When we give too much of equality in the society, government takes too much of power. Government has a lot of power. Why? It creates a level playing field. It is government who will decide that the welfare should be given or not and whom to be given. But when the government has more power, it tends to abuse it. We have seen everywhere. So there is a proverb: absolute power corrupts absolutely. Right? So let's read what is this. So this is a very important and classic debate. What you need to remember: liberty versus equality. You'll be facing it every day. The editorial IT searches a form of extra constitutional power, explores a paradox where the promise of justification and proportionality coexist with a prevailing culture of judicial deference, focusing on the implementation of Section 132 of IT Act. So this is relevance in GS2, governance, policy and intervention. So what is it? And see the mains question: critically analyze the implication of Section 132 of IT Act 1961 in light of post-Puttaswamy constitutional paradigm. So the dimensions of this article: Puttaswamy versus Union of India, privacy as a fundamental right; Income Tax Act, historical evolution and judicial rationale; changing constitutional perspective, judicial deference and outdated standards. So what was this case? The court asserted that privacy is an inherent right for all individual, emphasizing that any limitation to this right must meet specific criteria. So our fundamental right absolute? Are our fundamental right, whatever provided by the Constitution, is it absolute? Right? It's not sacrosanct. There is reasonable restriction. That can be public health, morality, sovereignty, security, unity. So whichever it tries to harm, government can put a reasonable restrictions. Okay. So if you do not remember this, just remember the example of Corona. That time the right to move freely was restricted, right? So what are the legislative mandates? State action restricting privacy must have a legal basis. Legitimate state purpose. The action should serve a valid state objective. What would be the state objective? Like it should specify it. Why are you curtailing any fundamental right to privacy also? Why are you curtailing it? Like there was a case that the government can tap anyone's phone or not. It can actually, but it requires at least level of secretary to give that order, home secretary or anyone who is at a level of secretary. No police can actually tap your phone. It requires a permission from secretary level officer, and it should justify that why are they tapping your phone. So that is again also the privacy is maintained, but if it is harming the unity, security or sovereignty of India or the people at large, government can tap your phone. Okay. Then proportionality. This is important. The restriction must be necessary for a democratic society, and the measures taken should be the least invasive. If you go to North Korea, it's supposed to be the most controlled society in the world. So they have, that leader of theirs, yeah, Kim Jong, yeah. So you have to put his photo in your room. You have to pray him. He's the god, and you cannot speak anything against the government. And they have all the cameras everywhere. If you're found out that you're speaking, ill about the government or that person, you'll be executed. So at least we do not have. At least we have a right to dissent. Right to dissent is a fundamental right. You can even criticize the government. Recently, our Honorable Home Minister said that right to criticize, it is there in our constitution. You can criticize a government if they are not doing well. But can this be done in North Korea? You cannot. You'll be executed then and there. Right? So these are the advantage of being a democratic country. This groundbreaking ruling transformed the government approach to citizens' privacy, setting new standards in both practice and policy. What are the structural reforms? Government are now required to institute changes, ensuring transparency and openness in surveillance project with a mechanism for judicial oversight. So recent example, just remember this also. Digi Yatra. So these are the example you can give. So they were collecting information without the consent. They were saying like there were allegations that people didn't know that they're collecting information. But there was a very small column saying that it was mentioned the government wants to collect your information, but the column was very small. It was not visible. So this Digi Yatra also collects your whereabouts, your information, and even Aadhaar. See, Aadhaar is it's a double-edged sword. Biometric. In future, you'll be seeing that all your payment, everything would be done through fingerprints or iris scan. Technology is evolving. And we have already seen that the leakage of Aadhaar, we have already seen the case of all cyber security is an issue. What to do with this? And government has made it mandatory that for certain things you have to use Aadhaar only. What about this privacy? Because fingerprints, if it is dubbed, all your money will be gone. You can actually create a clone also through your fingerprints and iris scan. What about all those things? So still we are dealing with this. We don't know what's happening. Then careful data handling. Authority must exercise caution and sensitivity in managing citizens' personal information. What are the legislation mandate? The ruling calls for enactment of a comprehensive data protection law. So after this Puttaswamy case, we were supposed to have this data protection law, where all the datas, be it online, offline, mostly the online datas, should be stored within India. Right now, the problem is we have data embassies which are located outside India. Like Facebook has a lot of data. Other also will have a lot of data, but they are stored outside because we do not have that kind of service. They can sell it. We have seen the case of Facebook selling their data to, there was a Cambridge Analytica case, where the Facebook was found, selling all the data, and it is also said that data is the new oil. So whenever you write any answer, you have to justify with examples, laws, rules, or any international norms. Okay. Then what is this Income Tax Act 1961? Section 133A of the Income Tax allows authorized officers to enter any business, profession, or charitable activity within their jurisdiction to collect hidden information. During the survey, the officer can verify the book of accounts of any or other documents, cash, stocks, or other valuable articles or things. The officer may impound and retain any book of account or other documents after recording reasons for doing so. The provision for impounding or seizing goods was introduced in the Finance Act 2002. Section 132 grants the taxman police power to forcefully search person and their properties and seize goods found during such search, including money, bullions, and jewelry. So even forcefully they can search person under Section 132 of this IT Act. So you can see like this actually goes against the privacy. The person should be intimated, but the government says if you intimate him, he'll run away. If you're saying that we're coming to your place to raid your place, do you think that person will be there? He'll be ready and like, okay, let me hide everything. Have you seen that movie? What is that? Shivaji the Boss. So what he'll do? He'll send all the documents to some place, and Shivaji will go and raid that place. So this is how it happens, right? Historical evolution and judicial rationale. The historical evolution of income tax laws reflects the oscillation between limited power and unchecked authority. So this is the main debate. Limited power and unchecked authority, right? Limited power, obviously, you can see the liberty of people are upheld, but unchecked authority is like more overreach, giving it's like more power to the administration or to the executives. The original 1922 legislation lacked search and seizure power, with subsequent attempt in 1947 being struck down for violating equal treatment principle. The 1961 legislation introduced Section 132, which was upheld in Puranmal versus Director of Inspector based on outdated jurisprudence from MP Sharma versus Satish Sharma, changing constitutional perspective. See this, post Puttaswamy, constitutional perspective shifted, recognizing the intrinsic link between privacy and personal liberty. So this is what the court recognized. There is a link between privacy and personal liberty. The state power to search and seize must now adhere to doctrine of proportionality, ensuring a legitimate aim, rational connection to objectives, lack of alternative means, and a balanced approach. Section 132 appeared to breach the principle. What was Section 132? Forcefully search a person, right? So you can mention this right to privacy case, Section 132 of IT Act. Okay. Judicial deference and outdated standards. The 2022 case of Principal Director of Income Tax versus Lalji Bhai revealed a reluctance to embrace the post-Puttaswamy paradigm. The court applied the outdated Wednesbury principle, focusing on the honesty and bona fide of the executive belief, disregarding the need for rigorous judicial review. This approach contradicts the constitutional demand for strict adherence to statutory law when fundamental rights are at stake. So you understand this is a problem with you know the privacy and the liberty versus state accesses or executive overreach. So this is the issue. Liberty of an individual versus state's power, state's right. So what is the way forward then? The coexistence of a promise for justification and proportionality with a culture of judicial deference poses challenge to the effective protection of civil liberties. Moving forward, a comprehensive revaluation of Section 132 is essential, right? Ensuring that the power of search and seizure align with constitutional principles. States should have power, obviously should have power, but it should be under the limit of rule of law. Whatever the constitution says, it should not, overpower all those things. Fundamental right is important, but yes, state, it is not absolute. There should be a fine balance between the two. So this is your answer when you write any way forward. See, both are important. We cannot say that we'll give absolute liberty to people. No, state is important, but there should be a fine balance between two, right? The judiciary must adopt a rigorous review approach, adhering to the doctrine of proportionality. So you need to follow this doctrine of proportionality to prevent the risk of granting executive undue extra constitutional power. So this is very important. See, India is like we have judiciary and executive and legislature, right? So there's a check and balance. Recently, we saw that judiciary has said that this electoral bonds are unconstitutional. So it was done by judiciary only. So you can even quote an example of judicial activism here. The bonds were brought in by executives, but they said like it might lead to bribery, and we have already seen that, you know, and it is favoring a single party. So the judicial said it is unconstitutional now, and if the money is not been used, return it back to the people from whom you have taken it. The because it has anonymity, we don't know who's giving the money. So that was a problem. So just remember this judicial activism. So there in paper 2, you'll be reading about judicial activism versus judicial overreach. So judicial activism is good. Judicial overreach is not good. That time they're stepping into the powers of executives and legislature. Yeah. Next is Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission 100 microsite project. So this Ayushman Bharat is very important. It covers 50 crore people or 10 crore family. Okay. Socioeconomic caste census. It is based on socioeconomic caste census, and it is for secondary and tertiary healthcare services. And what does it provide? Up to 5 lakh per annum insurance. So just remember all these things. Clear? Now recently this has been extended to ASHA workers also and Anganwadis workers. In the recent budget, we have seen this. So it's a great step towards inclusivity. So what is this news? Let's see. In July 2023, the National Health Authority introduced 100 microsite project under Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. So we have a digital mission also. And remember this NHA, they are the one who are implementing it. Implementing body. Okay. So let's read. So the relevance is GS2 health. Overview of the 100 microsite project. The initiative aims to boost the adoption of digital health practices, enhancing healthcare accessibility, particularly in private sectors. So this Ayushman Bharat, it's both. It also covers private sector. It's not just for government. So a person can actually go to private hospital also. It should be an impaneled hospital and it should be attached with the government, like saying that okay, we'll go with this Ayushman Bharat scheme. So it's not just for the government. Even the private hospitals you can approach if you have any problem. Within the ABDM framework, a microsite represents a cluster of small and medium scale healthcare establishment, including clinic, nursing home, hospitals, preferably fewer. ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ನೀವು ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ preferably with fewer than 10 beds, lab, pharmacies, and other facilities. These microsites are equipped with ABDM enabled digital health services. As of now, 29 microsites are operational under ABDM, spanning 10 states UTs. The inaugural microsite, it started in Mumbai. So what does it addresses? Various challenges associated with ABDM adoption, particularly for private healthcare sector. So see, you just have to remember that they have started with these microsites. And what does this act talks about? That's it. And if it is asked in mains, then you need to understand the problems, challenges, and way forward. You have to add on all those things. So we have seen that the challenges are main challenges were ghost beneficiaries. See, we need to attach your mobile phone. So it is Aadhaar based only, but your mobile phone will get messages. So we have seen that one mobile phone around, I think it was in lakhs, if I'm not wrong. I think 7 lakh applicants was attached to this one single phone. So it's a ghost beneficiary. Obviously, the higher stakes, I think officials are only involved in all these things. So whatever the money they are getting, they are taking directly in their bank. Even the hospitals are included in all these things. So this was recently checked. So we have a fraud unit also, anti-fraud unit under this Ayushman Bharat, who are looking into all these matters. So this, like one mobile phone having so many beneficiaries, that itself shows there is some kind of fraud going on. So that was the problem. And the main problem is with the people who are illiterate. How to help them? Because there is a list of hospitals and list of diseases and remedies or vaccinations which are included. But some hospitals will go, they'll say that surgery is not included. They'll say, okay, superficial surgery is there, this surgery is not there. How to deal about, how to go about those situations? How will you educate a person who doesn't know anything like this? So the problem comes there. Otherwise, the scheme is very good. It is like world's largest insurance or health beneficiary scheme in world right now. So for the mains, you have to write all those things. Okay. Or for prelims, just remember the scheme. All the key points of the scheme. Okay. Types of facilities covered by a microsite. Private healthcare facilities, including standalone clinic, polyclinic, nursing homes, small hospitals, labs, pharmacies, and other healthcare establishments generating health record. Incorporation of health facilities and professional from all systems of medical is emphasized. There are two categories. Category A, minimum 1,000 facilities encompassing all types of health establishment, and category B, minimum 500 facilities. No need to remember. Just remember there are microsites and it is categorized into two. Rest, just the act. Okay. I've already given you all the information about the act, but still go back home, do your own research. See, I've always told you we'll provide you only 20% of help. I can tell you the direction, I can give you the direction. You have to walk on this direction, in this particularly direction. But rest, you have to walk alone. This preparation, I cannot spoon feed you. I will give you the important topics. You have to go back home, do your research, make your own notes, and revise. Right? Up to 5 lakh yearly. Whole family. Family can have 5 persons. So it is like 10 crore family. That is 50 crore people. But we have seen it has exceeded 50 crore also now. But up to 5 lakh government will pay, and only for secondary and tertiary healthcare services. Okay. Next is urban transformation in India, unraveling phases, navigating complexities, Kerala beacon of innovation. See, urban transformation in the last class earlier, when I taken this in paper one, I've told you right that around 35% of the population lives in city right now. It is also 35 to 37 right now. By 2030, we might see 50% of our population moving into cities. And the cities generate around 65% of GDP. Right? I had given you this information. But then we saw a lot of problems also. What are the problems with urban development? Right? Do you remember that class? I forgot. Huh? Yeah, I showed you right everything. What is the problem? Then I had talked about reverse migration also. The people are moving out of cities now, going to the rural areas. And who are these people? Mostly, yeah, the retirees who retire after 60 and they want a good life. Cities also has a good life. You get all the basic amenities here. Everything will find. But the problem of pollution, congestion, like it won't be so too far that Bangalore will see that it will become Delhi. But thank God that it is at a very good height. The altitude where Bangalore is situated, this is why we do not see air pollution too much. Otherwise, it can become Delhi, second Delhi soon. Next, establishment of urban commission in the state of Kerala after 4 decades. There's an urban commission which has come up in Kerala. The inception of this commission triggers reflection on India's urban development trajectory, marked by distinct phases and policy shift. Exploring the necessity of such commission becomes imperative as urbanization continues to reshape the global and dynamics. See, go home and read about this charter cities and tell me. I will not tell you anything about this. What are charter cities? And is there any city like this in the world? And what do they do actually? Go read about this. You can mention this in your answers. This is why I'm giving you this topic, charter cities. Go read about this. Okay. Growth and development. So, what is the main question? Examine the evolution of India's urban development phases, highlighting the challenges and policy shift. Evaluate the role of Kerala Urban Commission as a model for addressing the complexities of urbanization and discuss its potential impact on other highly urbanized states in India. In the last class, I had given you many schemes which are actually helping to decongest and modernize our urban areas. Can you tell me some? tell me one at least. Do you remember this? If you don't, please go read about it. How many cities are there and what are they doing? And do read about this also. Make your, you know, make notes on this two topics. Let's see. Urbanization, a common facet of economic growth, hinges on the gradual shift of surplus rural population to urban areas and the concurrent development of industrial urban centers. This process, integral to modernization and industrialization, signifies a transformative shift from rural to predominantly urban culture on a global scale. So, what are the causes? You need to remember this. First one is natural population increase. So, this is obvious. Driven by improved health services, urban area experience higher population growth rate than rural areas. So, you'll see that in migration, if you read, there are push and pull factors. So next one is migration itself. Okay. Rural urban migration spurred by industrial development, job opportunities leading to substantial population movement. So do read about this push and pull factors. It can be asked in prelims. They'll give you some examples and they'll ask you which one are among all those things, which one are pull factors and push factors. So it is given in your economic geography NCRTs itself. Read about this. For geography, I've told you just your NCRTs are more than enough unless and until your optional is geography. For other people, 6 to 12 geography is more than enough. You don't have to get into higher books. There are other books also. I, my personal opinion, for people do give advice that GC Leong is there, there's RC Tiwari, there are other books. But if you do not want to overburden yourself, 6 to 12 NCRT is more than enough. So what should be your plan is to score out of 200, you need to score 110 in prelims. This is for the general category I'm saying. For everyone, the target should be 110 only. That means 90 marks question you can actually leave. You'll commit some mistake also, I understand, but still you can leave a lot of questions. Don't go for 100 questions. You should not mark all the 100 questions. You'll be in a situation that you have marked 41 right and rest 49 or 59 wrong. What will you do that situation in that situation? You fail. Right? But just marking 40 you will get 80 marks. Do not commit to the I always say control your hand. If you're not sure, leave it. And every year prelims is becoming even more trickier. Now you see that the options, there's no more elimination there. The earlier you used to see 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1, 3 and 4. You eliminate one, you'll get the answer. Now it is not like that. They'll ask you the statements. How many statements are right? It's a gambling. As I've told you, like your logic can be, you have applied the worst logic also, you'll end up with the right answers. So still control your hand during the exam and practice more. The only way out is practice more. Next, the first factor was natural population increase. Second was migration. Third, expansion of trade and industries. Urban growth aligned with expanding industries and trade, fostering favorable condition for urban settlement. Remember last class I had given you this circular thing. Cities here in the outer circle will find industries, outer circle again will find something, then again the development. There's a conurbation. You'll read this word called conurbation, which means even the sub town or the cities which are in transition are becoming cities now. Cities are expanding. Like just take the example of Bangalore. Earlier Bangalore was small. Now you see that even the Devanali is a part of Bangalore, right? Electronic City is a part of Bangalore. It's so far. So it will expand. Eventually it will expand, and even Tumkur will be Bangalore some days, right? Next, what are the significance? Why urban development is important? Easier access to facilities. See, whatever I'm highlighting, just write that. Easier access to facilities. How? Higher literacy, education, better health, and increased cultural and political participation are linked to urban living. Access to information. Proximity to information sources like radio and television, enhanced health awareness, especially in family planning. Individualism. Urban living fosters self interest and individual decision making, providing diverse opportunities and social autonomy. So, what are the dimensions of this article? Evolution of urban and development phase, revisiting the urban commission, role of Kerala's urban commission, lesson for other states. Evolution of urbanization and development phase. The global scenario witnesses a seismic shift in urban demographic with more than half of the world's population residing in cities right now. It's a growth engine. Cities are important. As I've given you that data, 65% of GDP is produced from the cities. They are the contributors. So this is why we need more cities. But at the same time, there should be a balance. It should not be at a cost of environmental pollution or your own life. There's a lot of problems we are facing in terms of health. The new types of problem, lifestyle disease, right? Those things should be matched with development. There should be a balance. But economic development is important, but other things are also important. Life should be a balance. Okay. Evolution of urbanization and development phases. The global scenario witnessed a seismic shift in urban demographic with more than half of the world population residing in cities. This urban transformation, a far cry from the era when Marx spent capital, has far reaching implications including climate change, land use challenges, and socio-economic disparities. See, these are the problems, main three problems. Around this only you can write your whole answers. Clear? In the Indian context, post-independence, urban development unfold in two significant phases. Post-independence, two significant phases. First, Nehruvian era and the subsequent paradigm shift in 1990s. So 1990s, we everyone know what happened here. What happened? Yeah, we opened up. Our economy opened up. So what happened in Nehruvian period spanning nearly 3 decades witnessed the creation of around 150 new towns with centralized planning approach. So he believed in socialism, right? Kind of command economy, but it was not pure command economy because private players were there. However, this approach flattered as it aimed at urbanization driven by state-led capital accumulation, resulting in mass rural to urban migration. The emphasis on manufacturing as the primary force behind migration proved unsustainable, leading to prominence of informal sector and failure of centralized urban planning. So this was a problem because more emphasis was given on manufacturing sectors. If you go read about Nehru versus Gandhi, he believed in decentralization or village economy. Like Gandhi said, like the kind of like policies which are followed by the capitalism it's so unsustainable that we need 7 earths to fulfill all the needs of the capitalism world. We need actually 7 earths, he said. So Gandhi believed in decentralization, village economy, but Nehru believed in centralization and help of state. That state should help in developing all the factors, let it be industries or whatever it is, health. So this difference you need to remember. And finally, we are following a what kind of economy? Mixed economy and with decentralization. We are giving more powers to state and even to the lower third level. Which is third level? PRIs and ULBs. Yesterday I was discussing the news, the revenues, OSR, own source of revenues. Remember, like state, the third level has money, they can generate money. But the problem is they are more dependent on grants now. And under which head the grant comes? Which article? I've given you this. You don't write, you just listen to me. Which articles? No. That will decide, yes, that the grant should be given. But which article? Under two articles, the grants are given. There's discretionary grant and there's a normal grant which are provided. Which are the two articles? Right, Article 275 and 282. So these are the articles which provides grants. Read. This is discretionary grant and this is normal grants given to 5th and 6th schedule. See, I have given you a lot of information, write it. Yeah, 5th and 6th. Yeah. Basically, it is for asymmetrical federalism. And 282 is a like discretionary grant. It's up to the government whom they want to give. Right? Next. So this was the first phase where we saw centralized planning approach. Okay. Nehruvian period. What was the second? The 1990s ushered in the era of urban privatization, where global city model became the blueprint for development. Large parastatal took charge of master plans, and consultancy giants reshaped urban policies, focusing on real estate over social welfare. The narrative shift from holistic city development to project-oriented initiatives, epitomized by a mission like Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewable Mission and Smart City Mission. Just write this too. You have to go read about the Smart City Mission. So you have not started asking you questions. Yes, last class in economics I asked you some questions and you were not in a state to answer. Even performance was pathetic. I already told you that I will be asking questions. I'm not asking anything beyond what I have taught you. I'm just asking whatever I have taught you. So tomorrow, day after tomorrow, agriculture will start. I'll have a session of, again, I'll ask you everything, monetary policy, fiscal policy, Niti Aayog, everything I'll ask you. And I hope that you do not disappoint me now. 1 week of time you have. It is for your own benefit that if you revise, you will remember. For me, I'm doing my duty. Your duty should be of students. What is the duty of a student? To study. You're here to study, to learn and revise. You will thank me later when after 1 year that you'll remember everything. That's why I push for this, revision thing. Every day I'll give you new information. Every day is a new learning. But what about the old things, whatever you have been taught? You need to retain all those things. It will take time. I'm not saying that in 1 day you will become Superman. No. But you will become eventually a Superman. But dedicated practice, consistency. So you ask any toppers, they'll say only one thing. What was their mantra? Half of them, first of all, they lie. But some genuine people, they'll say only revision. and restricting to your own notes. If you start reading everything, it becomes impossible. I have even told you, like, in prelims, you'll face time crunch. Means 100% you'll face time crunch. So what is the way out? Practice. Okay. Let's see. Revisiting the Urban Commission. Against this backdrop, the significance of the 1985 Urban Commission gained renewed relevance. Piecemeal approach to urban challenges have proven ineffective, necessitating a comprehensive revisit on Urban Commission objective. The current urbanization patterns, shaped by migration, settlement dynamics, and the impact of information technology, deemed a holistic understanding. Mission-oriented approach like Swachh Bharat, Amrut, Hriday, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana have fallen short of expectation, highlighting the need for more nuanced and objective understanding of urbanization. Governance issues in cities, so this is very important, further compound challenge with the transfer of subject to urban body, languishing and debates over the role of elected official versus managers. See, when I was taking polity, there I have taught you this. The problem in ULB, mayor versus commissioner, and yesterday I had given you three Fs. What are three Fs? Yeah. So the problem here is one is elected, one is selected or appointed, you can say. They are at a tussle. Mayor, he is representing a ULB, but this commissioner, he's been posted there. He has greater power at his disposal. Mayor also has power, but it has been restricted or controlled by the state legislature. Why? Cities, as I've told you, it's a growth engine. That means it is generating revenues also, a lot of revenues. Think of a situation if Bangalore or take any big cities, if you give more power to the ULBs, you see the municipalities and all started earning more money. It is good. It falls within the state. State falls within India. That is good. But state will have lesser control over the revenue. The money will be collected by ULBs, spent by ULBs. What about state? State has to what state has to do? It will collect money from Bangalore, it will give to some other rural areas. That source of revenue state will miss. This is why they do not give more power to the ULBs. ULB has power, but it is restricted by state legislature. If you go read the clause which talks about ULB, state can devolve a lot of power to the ULBs, but it's up to them. Should they want it, or they can, if they do not want, then they, like the same case what we see here in the ULBs. So this is the problem. Two problems we see is this mayor versus commissioner and this devolution of 3Fs. The governance issue is a major factor. In Delhi was a case where we saw there was a flood kind of situation. It was not a flood, it was a flash flood. Suddenly there was a lot of rain. And the municipalities, they're like, we do not have fund. And it actually, the state is also controlling it, center is also controlling it. So nobody's taking the responsibility. They're saying we don't have fund. So that is the problem. The right way should be gives at least minimum amount of revenues to this ULBs. Municipalities should be given, corporations and all, they should have power for financial devolution. Let's see what is the role of this Kerala Urban Commission. The formation of Kerala Urban Commission takes on added significance, proving a model for addressing the complexities of urbanization. With a diverse team, including urban experts and historians, the Commission's 12-month mandate aligns with the objective of mapping out 25 years of urban development. Kerala's urbanized population estimated at around 90%, the Commission aims to navigate the challenges unique to the state, resonating with the broader global and national urban processes. Lessons from for other states. While the National Commission was desirable, Kerala Urban Commission emerged as a beacon for other highly urbanized states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Punjab. The process of advancing the Urban Commission in Kerala serves as a valuable learning experience for state grappling with the complexities of urbanization. In the absence of national commission, the Kerala model offers insight and best practices that can be tailored and implemented in other high urban population state. So what is the way forward? So they're saying that we should follow the Kerala model. So it's more comprehensive, more inclusive, and far-sighted. They're considering 25 years of plan, right? And they have urban experts, historians. See, vulnerable or risk mapping is important. You should be ready with all the outcomes. What was the problem with Bangalore? Why we have the slowest traffic? You know, because unprecedented growth. It was supposed to be a garden city. Now they're cutting down all the trees. Seeing like it's more, you can feel that urban heat island concept. Earlier it was more cooler than what we see now. And in coming days, there will be more problem because of this unprecedented population growth and the economic activities which is happening in and around Bangalore. So we need to have a balance. And this risk mapping and vulnerable mapping is important. You need to figure out what to do. So this is why government of Karnataka is developing the Peenya side and the other, the suburban areas. Let the industries go that side. And this should be IT hub only. But what about the traffic? For that we need to develop MRTS, Mass Rapid Transportation System, metros, right? Metro is a very good way. It is clean, right? Cheaper. There's no pollution, and they should, push for this e-vehicles and more into the sustainable ways like cycles, bicycles, all those things. This has both the side of advantage. It will not contribute to the environment, in negative way, and you'll stay healthy. So what are the way forward and conclusion? The path forward involves leveraging the insight gleaned from the Kerala's Urban Commission to inform urban development strategies nationally. A holistic and nuanced understanding of urbanization, moving beyond mission-oriented approach, is essential. Addressing governance challenges, decentralization, financial architecture are critical component of sustainable urban development. As urbanization continues to shape the future, the Kerala Urban Commission stands as a pioneering initiative offering valuable lessons for navigating the complexities of urban development. The imperative lies in adopting an inclusive, informed and adaptive approach. Just remember this. See, all these words becomes very important. That resonates with the diverse urban landscape across the nation. So, right, this was your way forward. Remember all these things: mission-oriented approach, piecemeal approach, financial architecture. So, whenever you write any answers, you need to touch all the boundaries. Do not restrict yourself only to the topic. If you are getting any idea which is related to this, write it. This is clear? Then this is antimicrobial resistance. We have already dealt with this news in newspaper classes, right? So now there's like they have passed, they've given strict orders to the doctors. Like if you want to buy, if you have to give antibiotics, if any person have to buy antibiotics, it should be done only with the doctor's prescription. and doctors have been told that you write the generic name, the drug name properly, and it should be mentioned why that person has taken that drug. And doctors are saying that you should educate the pharmacists. So the blame game starts there. They are the one who are doing it. See, it's a nexus. It's a nexus between the pharmacies, doctors, and the big corporates. Politicians are also always there. You cannot forget them. But this three nexus is important. Pharmacies make sure if you go to big pharmacies or this big corporates who own these pharmacies, they'll go to the doctor or to the hospital. They say, these are the drugs. What are drugs basically? It's a salt. Generic drugs can be produced. Names are different. So what they say, okay, this drug, if it is a cancer-causing drug, like if it is treats cancer or any other, be it sugar or any other problem, okay. So they'll say this is the drug which we are providing, and the market rate is 20% off. So what is the advantage given to this doctor or the hospitals? What advantage do they have? So this pharmacy, this big corporate will go to the doctor or to the hospital. They say, please sell my drugs only. So their production and their output or whatever they are selling will increase, and in return, the hospital or the doctor will get a cut. So you'll go, you just have a look outside. You'll see a doctor clinic, next to it there will be a pharmacy. Always. So that's a business. 40% cut is always there for the doctor. He'll prescribe a drug. If you go search out anywhere, you won't find that drug, but you'll find there only. Because he'll write that name. He will not write the generic name or the salt name. He'll just write that company name. So this is how they are making, it's a nexus. So this you can mention in your answers what is the problem with this antimicrobial resistance. One of the reason, not the main reason, but one of the reason. The recent survey conducted by NCDC emphasizes the urgent need to tackle the misuse of antibiotics, particularly in preventing scenarios. The article Drug War explores the intricacies of AMR crisis, emphasizing the importance of reasonable practice in medicine. Prelims, what is antimicrobial resistance? New Delhi Metabolist NDM 1. Antibiotic Steward Program, steps taken to prevent AMR, One Health approach. This One Health approach includes, see, all these things are important. What are microbial? Does virus includes in this or not? Bacteria, fungi, which all organisms? And this New Delhi Metabolist lactamase NDM. See, this is a virus. If you go to Delhi, have you seen this Delhi Belly movie? Okay, it's a good movie. You should watch. So it talks about Delhi Belly. The movie name is Delhi Belly, but the problem there is, if you go to Delhi, half of the people have a problem of stomach upset or loose motion or diarrhea. Why? See, Delhi is so crowded that the water pipeline, if this is the house, this is the main water pipeline, and this is your gutter pipeline or the wastage, sewage, both mixes at one point. So sometimes you might end up using your sewage water because the water table is so low, and you understand the kind of waste generated if there are so many people. And once you consume this water, you'll have this NDM, New Delhi Metabolist lactamase, or the Delhi Belly virus. And once it is there, you'll have frequent loose motion, diarrhea, you cannot eat anything, nothing. And this is common in half of the Delhi, you'll find this problem. There was a news that this virus was also seen in Arctic areas. So obviously the person might have gone from here and spread there. And there's even more there are more possibilities if you go to the river, like big rivers, Gangas, Yamunas, think twice before dipping into that water. Okay, because there was a case of the this Kumbh time. See, Kumbhs are good. Mahakumbh and all Kumbh Mela are good. It's like all secular things good. The problem is with this wastage. All of a sudden, if 2 lakh people come to a place, you go to any place where there's mass congregation where people are meeting. What is the main problem they'll face? Where will they go and shit? Or where will they go for the nature's call? They are only nearby somewhere, so they'll be mixing. So in Kumbh, in Haridwar and all, there was a case study which none of the newspapers has shown. One newspaper had covered it. Half of the bathrooms and the sanitation thing was flooded, over flooded, and everything was mixed up with the water. And you are again taking a dip in that water, and there are high chances that you'll have this virus. See, so the problem is not just law and order. Health issue is also there. So once you become an administrator, you have to look into this factor first, right? In One Health approach, it talks about animal plus humans health. Yeah. Elaborate. So what is this main question? Elaborate on the challenges posed by antimicrobial resistance and propose comprehensive measures involving both medical practitioners and governmental agencies to address and mitigate the growing threat of AMR in the healthcare system. So, what are the dimensions of the article? Prophylactic antibiotic use, antimicrobial resistance, urgent need for antibiotic research and development, patient expectations and medical realities, role of government regular measures. Prophylactic antibiotic use, the practice of prescribing antibiotics for preventive purpose, known as prophylaxis, has become widespread in tertiary healthcare. So we have seen that the doctors they directly prescribe it. Before that, they should go undergo minimum test, blood test, this test, that test. But the problem is that is very costly. This is why doctors directly prescribe you take this. Survey reveals that 70% of the patient receive antibiotics, with more than 50% having the potential to induce AMR. Notably, 55% of patients were prescribed antibiotics preventatively, while only 45 received antibiotics for treating infection. So this information is important. So this is called prophylactic antibiotic use. Alarmingly, a mere 6% were administered antibiotic based on specific bacterial identification. See, this is more important. Only 6% are given this. They'll prepare a chart. Whatever problem you have, they will see if you are antibiotic resistant or not and which type of antibiotics can we give you. And maximum resistance also is growing due to incompletion of doses. Dose will be given you for the doctor will say you have to eat for 10 days, 7 days. Once a person finds that he's fit, he'll leave that drug. And next time if you have that disease, that drug will not help you because your body has somehow developed this resistance against that drug. So whenever a doctor says that you have to complete your dosage, complete it. If you're fit also within 2 days, but complete your dose cycle. Okay. What is antimicrobial resistance? A growing threat. AMR arises when pathogen adapt, becoming resistant to antimicrobial drugs. While pathogen is natural, unsound medical and animal husbandry practices exacerbate the crisis. The WHO reports that bacterial AMR led to 1.5 million global death in 2019. This information is write this information. The consequences extend beyond challenging infection treatment, impacting other medical procedures like surgery, caesarean sections, and cancer chemotherapy. Infection diseases specialists emphasize the urgent need for rational antibiotic prescription and control on drug use in agriculture. Have you seen this colistin? It's given in poultry, and even the prescription of this, all this NPK, yeah, it's already banned. All these things. The urgent need for antibiotic resistance research and development. The survey brings attention to the existing antibiotic research and development pipeline crisis. Developing new drug candidate and ensuring equitable access to them is imperative. Doctor plays a pivotal role in rational prescription practices, but government intervention is equally crucial. Establishing stringent system to regulate antimicrobial use and investing in research on newer antibiotic are paramount. And there was one more thing, I don't know if it is mentioned in this or not. This testing, investigation test, the culture test and all. If you go, you have to do a lot of investigative tests first before you get admitted. This should be made cheaper. This is the main problem. This is why people directly go to the doctor. But half of this pathogen lab, path labs we have seen, right? Half of the problem is solved here. They will go to the root cause, that what is the problem with you. But this investigation testing and this thing is very, the cost is very high. So this is why they go directly to the doctor. Doctor just looking at the symptoms, he cannot say everything. No? He needs to have that report, like what exactly is the root cause for this problem. If some doctors are good, they will push for that, go get the investigation done. But some areas, even the doctor understand that they cannot afford it. But just by looking at the person, they'll prescribe the dosage. Okay, you take this. Patient expectation and medical realities. Patient often seek immediate relief. See, fostering impatience with medical processes. However, medical science lack magical remedies, requiring a nuanced approach to treatment. This is true, right? They're not magicians or wizards. Like yes, now you're all fine, cancer treated. So I was seeing this one Baba in news. This Baba culture is very good. If you fail in your life, become Baba. You'll be successful. But have some basic knowledge. Don't become, you should be, the chain of command, you should be high. You should at least have some 10 followers. So this Baba treats cancer. So he says, Tathastu, and your cancer is treated. So it's so good, so easy. Huh? What is he saying? Babas are dongi. Can't help it. But that's a good business. If you want to become rich, become a Baba. See, there was a saying that, see, at lower level, are this human beings, what we are, the normal people, will be working 9 to 5 jobs. On top, you'll find some good corporate people who are working. On top of that, it's a chain I'm showing, the vertical chain. If you are done very well in your life, you'll become IAS, IPS, or top-notch corporate people who are earning in crores, the package of crores. On top, there are politicians who are controlling this whole chain. On top is this Baba. So finally, this Baba is giving the orders. Today it's Friday. Do not wear black. You will not wear black. Today you should sign with left hand only. He'll sign with left hand. Today no non-veg, no non-veg. So you see this chain. Where do you want to stay in your life? Tell me. Here or here? So still you have time. Choose. Okay. Okay, let's see. Requiring a nuanced approach to treatment. Bridging the gap between patient expectation and the realities of medical science is essential in addressing the AMR crisis effectively. What is the role of government and regulatory measures? The government role is in regulating drug use is critical in the battle against AMR. While doctor influence prescription practices, governmental agencies must implement and enforce robust regulation. See, if you go see, drugs have been categorized into different schedules. There's Schedule H drugs, which are like mostly the antibiotics. Or even the Chennai Declaration talks about this. So this Schedule H drugs, if you read that, behind that tablet, it's strictly written that without the prescription, this drug should not be given. But you just go now, you just say that I need this drug. Pharmacy will give you. Half of the pharmacists are doctor. You say I don't want this drug, he'll give you that drug. No, I know. I've been giving this. So he is self-proclaimed doctor. So remember this Chennai Declaration and Schedule H drugs. Striking a balance between patient need and responsible antibiotic use is essential for mitigating impact of AMR. So what is the conclusion? To combat the AMR crisis, a multifaceted approach is necessary. Stricter regulation on antibiotic use, particularly in prophylaxis, must be enforced. Educational initiatives. Both medical practitioners and public can raise awareness about the consequences of AMR. Simultaneously, fostering antibiotic research and development, supported by equitable access measures, is vital. Achieving this balance between regulation, education, and research is the key to preserving the efficacy of antimicrobial drugs and safeguarding the process of modern medicine. This question is important. So, from the prelims perspective, I've told you do read about this. what all are included in this microbial resistance, different laws, different schemes, and if there's anything else, see here. And what is this One Health approach? And the rest was for the mains. Okay. So we'll take 5 minutes break. We'll start again.